yes, I can go put a ring on it right now, but will that help everything mentally and all that?
If you like what you see, you put a ring on it. No. John, you're going to catch hell because you see what you're getting into. And most men, they get into a situation like this. They marry these women with this anger, and they don't realize what they got into until afterward. It's too late. But amazing. John is the first time call out of Rhode Island. John, thank you for calling, and thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's amazing.
Amazing, John.
So I've been watching your videos for about a year now, and I gotta say, like, you gave me like great ambition, great guidance. I've been watching your videos when you say racism doesn't exist, it's lack of moral character. So I kind of like been using that, and it's helped me in life. And so I've been kind of like getting into faith in God, because last 2 years I was like, in a fallen state, you could say, and I was just being a punk and saying there is no God, there is no God. More negative stuff and bad stuff kept happening to me, and now I feel like I believe in God, and life was great, and my girl had gotten pregnant, and I had gotten a new job, all that, the whole nine. And my daughter was due this past May 15th, but she was a stillborn, so she passed away April 29th. So I don't know, like, where to go from here with my girl and I, because I've been just telling her, like, stay strong minute by minute. We're going to bounce back from this. There's more to life. We are blessed. Is there anything that you can tell me?
So how long you been? So you guys are living together and not married, right?
No, that's another thing too. I kind of felt, because we were going to have my daughter Aubrey out of a wedlock, but I was planning to pop the question before Aubrey even knew she can take her first steps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But now
yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. If you're born out of a wedlock and a broken home, I'm against all that stuff. Like, I'm with being married and two parents staying in the home.
And so, are you married to your girlfriend now?
No, I'm not.
So you're still living with her, right?
Yes.
And so after the baby was born, stillborn. After that, you still didn't marry the girl. Why did you marry her?
I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, but I have bigger plans. There's like a special way that I want to pop the question to her,
How long you guys been together, John?
5 years.
And so you still want to wait and do something special in order to get married?
We'll see. I don't even know if she's going to be watching, but my plan was because I'm soon to be grabbing to buy a house, and I wanted to just, buy a house, and then once I close on the house, when we go in, it's empty. That's when I was going to, propose to her.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, nice ring on the counter with nothing in the house,
And so are you still sleeping? You still having sex with her and all that stuff too?
Well, it's only been 6 weeks since everything happened, and we can't do anything,
Right. But if you could, you would, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we love each other.
Oh, here's what and so what's your question for me, John?
It's just, I feel like every word that comes out of your mouth is gold. So I feel like, I don't know, you can lead me in the right direction of how to, like, continue to be strong for us to keep going.
Oh, okay. And you want to be strong dealing with the loss of a child, right? Like that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Here's what I recommend, John. Number one, I'm not recommending you guys separate at this point, but I am recommending until you get married, stop sleeping with her, stop having sex with her, because it's not the commandment of God. And what you want to start doing now that you're waking up, you want to start keeping the commandments, and life will be amazing. And that's the whole purpose of being a son or daughter of God. Not the whole purpose, but one of the purposes is to keep the commandments so God can operate through you and bless you along the way. So I recommend you sleep in a separate room from her, and you still can do the surprise thing, but start doing it the right way, and then you'll be strong through anything you have to go through. So I understand it's hard losing a child like that, but if you do it right, you become right, and you do right, you can endure all things. So at this point, I recommend you stop having sex with her, sleep in a separate room until you get married. Is that possible?
Just to be honest with you, I mean, probably not. But I mean, I don't know how to go from there. I mean, I mean, you are right. It just sounds impossible for me.
Well, because we need God's support through all things. But when you're in a fallen state like that, he can't do anything for you because Satan is your daddy and he's not, right? So Satan's going to do more to destroy you rather than to get things right for you on a straight and narrow path.
Right.
Why is it impossible? Why does it sound impossible to just sleep in another room, not have sex until you get married? Not that long before you get married.
I mean, I don't. It's not like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not like we're gonna purposely go out of the way to sleep in a different room. I mean, we could sleep in the same bed.
No, I wouldn't recommend that. You got to sleep in a separate room because it's going to be impossible to sleep in the same bed and not have sex.
Right. But I mean, like, I'm calling because I feel like right now, like at this point, I feel like mentally she needs someone, especially like me, because I went through it with her.
Right.
Like, here for her.
Right. You still be there, but you got to be right so that the love of God will work through you to help her. Because whatever you're becoming, she will too, especially when you get married. Why don't you marry her now? If you're going to marry this woman, you had a baby that with this horrible situation like that. Why don't you marry her now? You still can surprise her with her home. You don't have to tell her about the house. You still can surprise her with a home, but marry her so that you could be in proper order. You'll be the son of God. He will work through you, and through you, he can help your wife become strong too, because as you're strong, so will she be. Because she get her light from you.
Right. Yeah, well, I guess, I mean, that's the reason I called. I mean, that's some great advice.
And it doesn't take but a minute to go downtown and get married, or find a preacher to do a quick little simple marriage thing. And once you get to home, if you want to celebrate the marriage later, you can. But right now you have a situation where you want to be strong, you want to be right for your girlfriend so that she can make it through all this stuff that she's dealing with too. And I'm telling you, John, if you become right, especially once you marry her, she will become right. And if she doesn't, you'll still be fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a lady I'm definitely going to be marrying. So.
Well, then go marry her then. Go and have a quick, just have a quick marriage, and you can celebrate later. You can surprise her. Don't tell her about the house, and you can surprise her with that.
You know how women are. Women, they want the whole marching band and all that with the weddings. They want the whole nine.
Right. But you're the head, so she's going to have to do it the way you want her to.
Yeah, right.
Women don't know what they want.
that's the truth.
But they will follow. They will follow the man if he is right and doing the right thing. So she'll follow you. If not, it'll work itself out one way or another. But I recommend, do what you want, but I recommend, since you are sure that you're going to marry her, right now you guys are going through an ordeal. You want her to be strong through it. In order for that to happen, John, you got to be strong so that strength would come through you and she would see it. And by seeing it, it's the light of God, and that's what will make her strong. Otherwise, it's not going to work out.
Right. Yeah.
Are you willing to go and just have a marriage so you and her can become one?
Like this second, I mean, I don't. mentally, right now, I feel like not so much both of us, but her is not gonna go and say, let's go get married because that can make everything better. You know, I mean, and she also doesn't. She only hears about God because I talk about it. Other than that, I feel like she would go about her days. You know.
Oh, she doesn't. She's not interested in becoming a Christian.
She only because I started getting into it and I started showing like her your videos and how much like the way you think and the way you speak has like made an impact on me and the way I think and go about my life now. It's a complete 180. And after my daughter had passed, like a few days went by, and I would tell her because she had so much hate build up, like at her family, at her sisters, at anyone who had a child and she thought that didn't deserve the child because they're a bad parent. I said, actually, you can't have hate.
Yeah.
If you hate one person, you hate everybody. I feel so.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, and my whole I got that from you. So I feel like it made it a little bit easier to cope with things. But
yes.
With her, she feels guilty. Like when the sun's out, she feels guilty. Like I can't go out and have fun because I have a missing piece that we were going to have, you know, like we can't go out and do things because our missing link is not there. And that's where we're at right now.
John, I recommend, recommend before you marry her that she deal with this anger stuff. She need to go and forgive. Otherwise, you're going to catch pure hell. Because now that you're changing, number one, she's not going to be able to control you. Number two, you're going to want to do it the right way, and she will not want to nor be able to. She's going to judge you for everything, for living with her before marriage, having sex with her before marriage, and she's not going to want to hear from you, telling her what to do because you did wrong. And women they judge forever. They don't forget. They don't realize those days will be over. You're going to catch hell. I recommend, not if you told me this, that she work on that before getting married, John, because you see what you're getting into.
And she keeps it, and she doesn't take it out on anybody. She keeps it built in, which is also not a good thing, but she won't go and we can't just have it's very hard, like, for us to even put everything on the table. Because, again, she goes and breaks down, and then the emotions come, and then the reality kicks in, and then I have to, like, console her and tell her we will get through this. We will have more children. We're going to have a happy life and bounce back. And, yes, you're absolutely right about the marriage, and I kick myself in the ass every day. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm having a baby out of a wedlock, and I go around and I preach to everyone about not having a baby out of a wedlock. It screws the child, like, so bad down the road. Yeah. But because I was born out of a wedlock, and it was just me and my mother, and that's just where we're at right now, and that's why I called you, like, mentally. Yes, I can go put a ring on it right now, but will that help everything mentally and all that?
If you like what you see, you put a ring on it. No. Now you're going to catch hell. Because you see what you're getting into. And most men, they get into a situation like this. They marry these women with this anger, and they don't realize what they got into until afterward. It's too late. But now you see what you're getting into. I highly recommend that you and this woman sleep. If you got to stay with her, sleep in separate rooms. I would continue to become a son of God by being honest and not resenting and speaking up and doing the silent prayer and all that. But I would highly recommend you encourage this woman, if she listens to you at all, to go and forgive her mother. You said what?
She does. This woman loves me, and I mean, I love her too.
Well, I would highly recommend she go and forgive her mother, return to her father. Then you guys get married. Otherwise, it's not gonna be easy, John. It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah. Now, do you say a mess between me and her, or
yes,
a mess in general?
Between you and her.
Right. 'Cause, I mean, I don't know how to, like, put our relationship out there, but, yeah, we get into the classic little, like, arguments here and there, but it's nothing. We haven't got mad at each other since this happened. She's just, I just tell her, like, don't get mad at other people for having children and the children, like, living and they're not taking care of them. I'm like, you will have your chance to
Right.
take care of the child, you know? And that's what I mean by anger with that. She doesn't even use the word hate. She doesn't even swear. You know, she's not a bad person. She's just.
Where are you from, John?
Rhode Island.
You were born and raised there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not going to be able to continue to convince her with words.
Right.
She needs to overcome the spirit of anger, because just words is not going to change that. She has to repent by forgiving her mother for whatever she did and returning to the Father, love her Father. Then you have a better chance. But because after a while, you're going to get fed up with trying to convince her. You can't convince a person to be right. And it sounds like she loves you, or the best that she knows how, she wanted to do it. But you got to encourage her to go and forgive, John, because after a while, you're going to get sick of trying to convince her. Believe me, you can't after a while, you realize you can't convince angry people to do right. I remember when I first started Bond, for a while I had angry people working for me, mostly men too. Angry men couldn't get along with one another. They took everything personally, even criticism personally or whatever, right? And I was trying to convince them, hey, you got to do the right thing, you got to do this, let go to anger. But I realized they weren't going to let it go. So I realized that you can't convince angry people to be right. You have to be right yourself and just deal with them. So you're not going to be able to convince her after a while, John. You're going to get fed up with it.
Mm-hmm.
And she may be a nice girl right now. She may want to do right, but unless you overcome that anger, I've seen it in men. If they don't overcome that anger, they're going to act just like angry women. You can't convince them, hey, stop it. We could be having just a regular conversation about work or whatever. They'll take it personally. And so I realized you can't convince an angry person of anything.
Right. And that's now. What if that's like the only thing? Like the only time I've ever seen her get angry is when I'll be angry at her, and then she sticks up for herself, or whatever the case may be. But this is the first time I've heard her say. She's in the hospital bed. She said it. She's like, she was mad. She's like, oh, what the F? I can't believe this. Like, we don't deserve this. And there's people like my sister who doesn't care about her son, never sees her son. And then that's when I told her immediately, that has nothing to do with you. And her son, she will pay the price for it down the road when he gets older. And then you'll see the outcome of that. But we have to worry about us, and we have to get through this. And then she's okay with that. Then she's back to being happy, or whatever I do to console her, she knows it's going to be okay. Like, and that's where we're at. So, but yes, you're right. I mean, I should be married to her, but emotionally and mentally, and what can me marrying her do to change her attitude in the snap of a finger?
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. She gotta. Now that you told me all this about her, John, I know that.
And you're right with the mother too. Sorry to cut you off. You're right with the mother too. Like, to forgive the mothers. Like, I watched your video this morning. Like, you have to forgive the parents, and you're so right. Her mother has a drug problem and gave my girlfriend's one of 7 children. She gave up every single one of them to foster care, and my girlfriend still loves her mother and her father as if they never even did it.
So she doesn't love them; she hates them. She has to.
I mean,
and that anger and making her feel as though she loved them. She got to go deal with them, John. Even if you have to go with her, now that you understand. But do what you want, of course, John. But I highly recommend that you.
No, I take it. Trust me, I take that, and I will. It's just I don't see right now me doing that and making anything better, like
right,
mood wise.
right. You mean like going and helping her to forgive her parents and stuff?
That's very that's a whole nother. If she went to go forgive her parents, they would literally go and say, "Forgive her what? What did we do wrong?" As if they didn't do anything wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that wouldn't matter. God will forgive her when they don't need to admit to anything. They don't need to anything. God will forgive her as she's forgiven her parents.
And that could be another, like, a thing for me too. Is it could be why I don't have hate. I mean, I do get a little aggravated and sometimes, but since everything happened, she has a huge family, and it seems like they all forgot about her, you know. And then I tell her, yeah, that shows the true colors.
Yeah, that's right. Families don't love, and they don't love one another anyway. It's all a fake. Because they're in a fallen state, it's all fake love. They don't love each other. So that's why if she were to go and forgive her parents, you forgive yours, and then when you start your family, a new generation will start, and then there will be real love in the family. But right now, there's no real love in most family. You know, another thing you said that's very concerning to me is that when she did have the stillborn child, she like, my sister doesn't deserve this. Why has she had a baby? Or I don't deserve this. Why did this happen to us? When you are sons and daughters of God, when you wake up, you don't compare yourself like that. You don't say, why does my sister have one and I don't, and blah, 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 right? Because you see you deserve what you get. You know, we deserve what we get. And so you wouldn't wish someone else ill will just because your life is not working the way you think it should. If your wife didn't have that anger, and that would have happened with the stillborn child, it would have been dealt with totally different. It would have been disappointing, but she would not have wished someone else ill will and wonder why that this happened to her. She would see why it happened.
But and now as far as God and everything, like it's just so hard for me to say everything happened for a reason, especially with this kind of situation a week before she was due.
This happened a week before. You say this happened a week before she was due?
Yeah, she was just in there gaining weight.
And so what brought on this? Why did it happen?
Well, we had went to the normal checkup the day before. Everything was fine. And I went to go work my second job, my night job, and I kissed her goodbye at 10 o'clock at night. Everything was fine. She was kicking, and I got home around 5 in the morning, and she was still kicking when I hopped in bed. And then I woke up around 10 o'clock in the morning, and my girlfriend was on the couch just sitting up, and I said, why don't you just come back in bed? What are you doing? And she came to lay back down, and usually once I put my hand on her stomach, I'll feel a kick or elbow, whatever it is. And I didn't feel anything for like 2 minutes, paid it no mind, and then I said, let's go downstairs, because every time she had a popsicle, the baby would kick immediately. So
right.
I was like, let's go downstairs and try to have a popsicle. And she did, and there was no kicking. So we have one of them heart monitors put on the stomach, and we didn't hear nothing. So we drove to the hospital, got there 10 minutes later, and that's when they did the ultrasound. And that image of that day, like, constantly replays just that and my girlfriend's emotion of when they first wrote the news to us.
Well, I can imagine. It's never happened to me, but I can imagine that, especially with men and women who want their children, it's not
Right.
easy. Losing a child. You you go 9 months and then the baby's born dead. That's not easy. To handle. It has to be a major disappointment. Did the doctor say why the baby was born? Stillborn?
Yes. He said that the umbilical cord was. He didn't know this until afterwards because he was just making assumptions. He said, "I really think it's the umbilical cord or something with the placenta." But then, once she came out, he cut the cord, and then I asked him, "Did you see anything abnormal or anything?" He said, "Yes, the umbilical cord was very longer than usual." And I said, and when they got the results, they said that she had kinked the umbilical cord and it stopped her blood flow and the nutrients or however that goes, and that was it.
Amazing. I'm really sorry for your loss, man, both of you. It's just, I can't even imagine what it's like to lose a child when you want it. You got all these people talking about killing children in the womb, but you have people like you and your girlfriend.
That amazes me. That people really wake up in the morning and go, "I think abortion is okay."
I know, that's mind blowing. You got to be evil to be feeling that way. But you know what?
That's another thing.
So what, John?
I said, and that's another thing too. Is I try to, whatever you say on the internet, and I see it, and I say, "Wow, this guy is right," and I actually speak freely around people. They look at me like I'm the crazy one, and then they have the hate, and then that's the whole when I talk about the abortion and stuff, because again, her sister, the one that she was like, "Oh, I don't know why this is her first kid, but she had abortions and the whole nine."
Well, next time she says that about her sister to you,
I cut that off the first time she said it. Even in the hospital room when she was crying, I said, "No, you stop that right there. That is not right."
It sure isn't. That's horrible. Matter of fact, but that's what angry people do when they're in a fallen state. But
she didn't wish anything. She was just like, "It's sad that we were trying for months and months, and then she was attached to my girlfriend." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're both taking it hard, but
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I know it's hard. I can imagine it's hard. But John, God is good, so it's going to be amazing. That's why I want you to start. I'm encouraging you guys to do it the right way from this point forward. Number one, I would still recommend that you sleep in separate rooms at least, and wait until you get married. Now, I would recommend you not marry her now that you know that anger is there. Because I would recommend you not marry her until that is dealt with. I'm not telling you never ever marry her, and I'm not telling you to move away. I'm just telling you live in a different place, sleep in a different room, especially since she's going through the loss of her child like that. But I recommend.
Sorry, I cut you off.
I recommend that you encourage her to overcome the anger before you guys get married, because I promise you that after a while, you're going to get fed up with it. You can only convince people to do the right thing for so long. And angry people cannot be convinced, because it's not the words that changes the heart. It's the Spirit of God that changes the heart. And she needs a change in the heart. Otherwise, the marriage probably won't work. It won't last.
No, how would I know that? How would I know, one day she goes, "All right, now I have a change of heart." I mean.
Well, you'll see. Don't worry about that part.
I feel like I over, I don't know the word for it, but she really isn't she has that anger, but she really is a sweet person. I don't know how to put overly sweet. Yeah, she gets mad at her family, but she's never did. She's the sweetest person ever. I just don't. That's the only thing I could say.
But John, sometimes the sweetest ones are the worst ones, because that anger is hitting in there, and it'll be brought out. And then once you marry her, it will be brought out, and then it's going to be in worse ways than what you want to deal with. The sweetest mother is
should the same go for me though? Should the same go for me? I mean, there's two people in a relationship, you know.
the same go for you as far as going and forgiving your parents.
Right, like yeah, because I feel like that's.
You didn't do that yet.
I don't have hate, but I do have aggravation, and yeah, when my mother is around, I love her to death. But when my mother is around, I do get my ulcers are gonna come back.
Oh, so you didn't forgive your mother yet?
No, I haven't walked up to her and said, "No, I forgive you."
John, yes, you got to do that. Of course you. I was thinking that you had already done it. I thought you told me you had done it already. But of course you need to go and forgive your mother, because that aggravation that you're feeling is her nature inside of you. That's not a way a man, a real male don't feel that way. A man who's become a woman feel that way. So of course you got to face her, and you don't love your mother yet. You will only love her when you don't feel the aggravation around her, when you can be honest with her, or when she's wrong and you don't feel anything about it. That's what love is. But right now, you don't love your mother. Because if you loved her, you would go and forgive her. Don't ask for forgiveness, but forgive her for what she did to you and the way she is.
Now, do I let her know I forgive her? Because what if she's like, forgive me for what? What did I do to you?
And you tell her what she did and still forgive her whether she admits it or not. Absolutely. You have to go to her and forgive her. Because that's the only way you're going to get your courage back. You got to face it. Once you face her...
Definitely.
So what?
I said, definitely. You're absolutely right.
And then, yeah, once you face your mother and forgive her, don't ask her to say, hey, mother, whatever you call her, I've been resenting you because you're so controlling. I'm just throwing out things. You're so controlling, but you seem so nice and sweet, but you're not that sweet, and blah, blah, blah. But I realize now you can help yourself. I know now because I understand myself, you can help yourself. I'm sorry for resenting you. And if she says, oh, thank you, or if she doesn't, that's fine. You don't need her to admit to anything. God will forgive you and you'll be free.
Mm-hmm.
But it totally applies. Everything that I recommended for your girlfriend applies to you, too. I thought you had said you had gone and forgiven your parents, but you should forgive your mother and your father.
Well, my father had passed away last year, 2 years ago.
Okay, go and forgive your mother. And love your father. Don't resent him.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, you got to face your mother. Are you afraid to?
Oh, of course not. No, it's just that's exactly how it would go. I would go and forgive her, and whether she took it or not, right. But trust me, I do have courage. It's just I never thought of it like that. Today was the first day I actually heard you say, "Oh, go forgive your parents," and I'm like, wow, it's like something so small like that. It does work. It gets your courage. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And it works, too, especially when you know yourself, realize you can help yourself. It helps you to realize your parents can help themselves. Then you will go and forgive her. Then you will love her. But right now you don't love her. You just feel emotional. Emotional love is from hatred. That's not real love.
Right.
So I got to
show emotion.
So what now?
I said, and women show emotion.
Yes. And men who show emotions are women. So let me tell you this. So both of you need to go and forgive your parents. Your father has expired, but just realize, just as what you discovered about yourself, whatever he did wrong, he couldn't help it either. So love your father, forgive him, but face your mother, forgive her. I recommend the same thing for your girlfriend before you marry her, now that you know it's there, right? And then I recommend you not sleeping together or sexing wait till you get married. And then you're going to get a chance to have more children, and it's going to be amazing. But you got to do it right. I recommend you do it right starting now, since you know what right is. And you want to be right and do right, and your seeds will be blessed from it. All right, John?
Yeah, no problem, Jesse. Thank you so much for taking my call. I can't even believe I'm talking to you right now. I watch you every day.
It's amazing. Will you let me know how it goes?
Yeah, well, I'll definitely call back.
Because, John, the last word, you're not going to be able to keep on trying to convince your girlfriend with words. It's going to have to come from the spirit. She's going to have to come that way. Then you'll be able to be an example and help guide her. But after a while, you're going to get tired trying to convince her. Because she'll be all right for a minute, and then she'll be back in that same old hellhole next minute. Now you got to convince her. She'll be right for 1 minute, and it'll just be over and over until after a while you'll be like, forget this. I'm staying at work late tonight.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Let me know how it goes, John.
I will. Thank you so much.
And again, I'm sorry for you guys' loss, and God bless you, all right?
All right, God bless you too.
All right, buddy. Amazing.